Hello, fabulous people, and welcome to another amazing episode of Fab Life. And today I have with me best-selling author Rand Allen. Thank you for gracing my show.
Thanks for having me.
In spite of the fact that everybody is quarantined right now, but we're kind of social distancing.
Only
Yeah.
two of us, so it's not-
Yeah. So you're a best-selling author in Amazon. So tell my viewers what you've done so far.
Well, I've contributed two stories to I guess it's a compilation or an anthology book, where it's called 365 Soulful Messages. So I guess each page in the book is an inspiring story. So we had about 350 words to write for each page. And I submitted one, and they liked it quite a bit, and asked if I would submit a second, because they were a little short on authors, so I did so, and they really enjoyed both stories. And the book was released on Amazon, and within, I think, 6 weeks, it went to #1 in 8 categories.
Amazing.
So real excited
Amazing.
about that. And there's a lot of amazing authors in the book as well, and a lot of
Yeah.
really inspiring stories. And what's cool is you can just pick it up. And, it's like a coffee table type book. You pick it up in the morning, and while you're drinking your coffee, and you read that quick little story, and they're very inspiring. Kind of helps you set your day. So, yeah, it was
Awesome.
So yeah, and plus I'm also writing a bigger book, a complete book of my own called Zen Tuition Through Fractal Thinking, where I teach people how to access their subconscious and superconscious mind, and do it on a more real-time basis. Which is kind of like the flow state. So I'm going to kind of give people a formula, or kind of what they call a cookbook way of accessing the flow state, but doing it also with super consciousness, which gives you access to the whole kind of field of information that's out there. And I've shown a few people, and it worked really well, and they just kept saying, you have to write a book and show everyone else. So that's what I'm doing.
Awesome.
And what's cool is the two stories I put in that book, 365 Soulful Messages, are actually small excerpts from the bigger book. So,
Yes.
which is in process. And hopefully I'll have that done by the fall.
Oh,
That's what I'm looking for. Definitely by Christmas. So,
nice.
so yeah, it's exciting.
So in which categories did it reach #1, or at least, I mean, if you can just remember just a few.
Spiritual enlightenment.
Uh-huh.
God, there's so many. There was like 8 categories, and
See, that
I
says it
just
all
remember that one.
right there.
Oh,
the
very similar to
spiritual
that. Yeah.
enlightenment.
Variances, because there's a lot of different eclectic type stories in the book.
Yes.
There's quite a few authors. So they were trying to get, every story they wanted a different author, but unfortunately they couldn't find that many people. So a lot of us, they asked us to write 2 stories, short stories. So back before they glimmered.
Yeah. Were you into Anne Rice as well? Did you read any? Welcome back to this fabulous episode of Fab Life, and now we're going to pick up where we left off. For those of you who've just tuned in, my guest right now is best-selling author Rand Allen, who has won. I think his book went to #1 in 8 categories.
Correct. Yeah, on Amazon.
On Amazon, and one of them is spiritual enlightenment. And you guys know that I've been watching my show and watching the good news that I'm all into that spiritual enlightenment, whether it be Christianity or something else. I try not to be a narrow-minded
Sure. Yeah.
thinker
Embrace
and,
it all.
and
It's
be
all good.
open about it, because I'm afraid to be narrow-minded and be like the people in the past, and they discovered, oh, the world is round. Yes, the world is round. It's a globe. It's not flat.
What do they call them? Flurfers and ballers?
Yeah,
Flat
yeah.
earthers and
Yeah.
ballers? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not taking sides.
Yeah, I'm not taking side, but just discovering that so many things out there exist, and what you're thinking is just a piece of the puzzle.
And we're so many things we thought we knew we're
Yes.
realizing aren't even exactly what we thought they were. So
Yes, exactly.
it's a brave new world.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, cool, but
It's like what I've learned, when I was learning fashion merchandising,
okay.
and they said that, and I believe that this applies to everything, including spirituality, Christianity, or Buddhism, or whatever it is that you guys believe in out there. Okay, picture a giant elephant, and there are five blindfolded men that came in, and they started holding a part of the elephant. And one said the elephant is like stubby, and then the other one held the ear. No, the elephant is flat. And then the other one held on the tail. No, it's like long, and it's just this. So each of them, they had their own, based
Perceptions.
on their
Yeah,
experience of what
sure.
describe what the elephant was. And when they removed their blindfold, they were like, "Oh my goodness, this is." So we're
Yeah.
not seeing the big picture yet. One day we will.
That's a good analogy for
Mm-hmm.
that, yeah.
Yes.
Because a lot of people are starting to realize there is a huge, amazing picture, and now that we're all stuck home and have a
Yes.
little bit of time on our hands, we're like a captive audience, so we're starting to actually explore some of
Yes.
that world and realizing, wow, there's so many pieces that are integrated into the puzzle that we didn't even know were there before. It's kind of cool, actually, to see everyone waking up and expanding their knowledge base.
Yes,
So
that's
maybe
really
that's the one
awesome.
good thing, the silver lining coming from all this, is the new level of awareness that's coming with it.
Wow, that's really amazing. So tell me about the book that you've written. So it's like a spiritual enlightenment book.
Yeah, it's a spiritual compilation
Yes.
or maybe anthology where there's just 365 separate little enlightening, inspiring spiritual stories
Mhm.
to give you that smile in your heart and help you start your day on a positive note.
Yes.
So it's probably a great book to when you make your coffee in the morning and sit and pick, just let spirit guide you to any page, open it up and read a story, and let it inspire you for the day. So it's when I was turned on to it by another author who's also in this book, the minute I heard about it, I was like, yes, Spirit just leaped and said, you need to be a part of this.
Yes.
So I was really blessed that I wrote a story and submitted it, and they liked it and said, we're a little short on authors. Do you want to do a second? I jumped at the chance to do a second one. So, and it's been a great experience. So, and just amazing that it went to #1 as quick as it did in all those categories. So
That's awesome.
it's just a
Yeah.
blessing.
It is,
There's so many awesome things. So,
Yep, the stars have aligned, and you were blessed.
and
Yeah.
of course, both those stories were parts of the bigger book that I'm writing, Zen Tuition Through Fractal Thinking. I'm not sure if we got that on the first part or not.
Yes,
So.
yes.
Okay, so.
Yeah, but it's okay because there was a glitch in the first part, so you
Glitch in the
can.
matrix.
Yes.
But we're getting through it.
Yes.
We're just gonna neo right through
Yeah,
that.
the Neo. Is it the blue pill or the red pill?
It's the purple pill.
It's the oh my goodness, that's really awesome. I say that a lot in my comedy, Geezy and his frenemies.
Yeah, yeah. These
So
days it's the
wow.
purple pill.
So when you say that these books that you've written is categorized as spiritual enlightenment, does it lean towards is it Buddhism? Is it positive, negative energy? Is it Christianity? So which branch does it
Well,
tie into?
there's a real wide diversity of stories in the book that,
Uh-huh.
that cover the whole gamut of all the different spiritual beliefs and rationales. The two stories I submitted were a little bit more about getting in touch with inner self. Like, when you have a question, you hold your hand on your heart and ask your true center soul for the answer, and then wait for it to float up, because your subconscious really does. It's like a quantum supercomputer
That's powerful.
that has phenomenal problem-solving abilities, but we never actually put it to task to actually solve problems for us. So I kind of teach people how to actually engage that process. It's really fun, and actually it's easy and it's exponential, because you ask that question and then you just smile and wait for the answer, and then all of a sudden, maybe a couple hours or the next day, you'll be doing something that this like epiphany will drop in because it finally got all the pieces it needed to give you an answer. And so you have this newfound awareness, but you get this little smile because, wow, that was easy. And then guess what? You want to do it again. You want to do it more. So it becomes like you prime the pump, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that builds on itself, and then you want to do it more, and you want to do it more. So you start enhancing your database and your access to the morphogenic field of limitless information, which really changes things.
Wow.
You start to understand the world around you. You know what your interaction with it, but also you start to see the things around you, and you see through the BS. You know? That's why I'm a street shaman, because I help people. You know, there's a lot of fluffy stuff out there it's nice, but let's just see it for what it is, so we can understand it, and we can use that knowledge to move through life. Easier, because knowledge is true power.
Yes.
It's the real only true power, but most people don't quite have depth of knowledge of things because it seems so hard. We've been kind of taught to just fast food knowledge, take what we're given from the TV, and that becomes a reality. We regurgitate it as a reality, when in reality we should wait for it and because the truth is always kind of hidden under the surface. You need to wait a little bit longer and wait for it to float up, and then you'll see the real truth of it. And with that knowledge, life gets easier because things fit better.
That's really awesome. Yeah.
And it's all, and I kind of created a pretty simple process to start, like simple exercises that keep in your mind to start doing during your day, and things really start to shift when you start to use fractal thinking.
That's really awesome.
It creates kind of what I call Zen-tuition, which is, because we all know about critical thinking.
Yes.
Just the term critical sounds critical.
Yeah, it is critical.
I kind of feel like I want to evolve that, where critical thinking along with your gut feeling and your super consciousness becomes Zen-tuition.
Yes.
And I'm actually want to create the Zen Institute, where I teach people, it's a very relatively easy, quick process to start priming the pump and get that process rolling.
Yes.
And before you know it, you're just smiling all the time because you just know stuff, and things are fitting, and now you know why things were, because you were aware of the things that you didn't know before.
Yes.
And it changes things. It really does, and it starts making your life take shape.
Yes.
Especially if you really want to do something in your life, you want to manifest, you want to get somewhere, have those goals. Having Zen-tuition really helps you manifest. It also kind of increases your kind of latent, hidden psychic abilities that I believe everyone has within us. Matter of fact, I teach a class called How to Channel Your Inner Jedi.
There you go.
I've taught it to, probably 100 people so far here in Vegas, and it's cool. It's kind of catching on because people are realizing that there is a Jedi already in us. It's just hiding. It's just latent because your subconscious is wielding your gifts, but it's doing it in a very subtle way that your conscious mind isn't quite aware of it yet. But when I start to talk about the different things that happen, you see everyone's faces light up because they realize they've already been doing it. And I'm like, see, it really was already in there. All we need to do is become more aware of it to a point where you're aware of it as it's happening, and that's that 0 point magical moment where you can start to take control of those Jedi powers and actually wield them with a conscious competence, not an unconscious competence like you were doing before. But you bring it into your conscious competence, understand it, embrace it, envelop it, and then you can actually start wielding it with an unconscious competence at a phenomenally higher level.
That's really awesome. I hope that you guys are taking down notes because this is the guru right here. So, and on that note, we will go on a commercial break, but we will be right back for more. Promise.
Social media shows
is about
branding,
opportunity,
and outreach.
We are an entertainment company that empowers others
by promoting and supporting our community
and everyone who reaches our content.
Here on social media shows,
Yeah, we're a family.
we are family.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, sing.
We are family.
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 We are family, and we want you to be part of our social media shows family. Hi everyone, this is Maria Levinthal, and I'm inviting you to watch us at Honeybee's Women Empowerment every Tuesday, 5 p.m. PST. If you're from New York, adjust your time because you are 3 hours ahead of us. And if you are from Hawaii, we are 3 hours ahead of you guys. So please make a proper adjustment of your time. See you there.
Welcome back to the second segment of Fab Life, and here I am with best-selling author Rand Allen, and now we're going to talk about my favorite topic. Not that the first one was not, because I love things that are spiritual, but now we're going to talk about our favorite sci-fi movies and TV shows. And I know for a fact that you were a Trekkie, back in the
Oh yeah,
early
big Trekkie.
70s when
Yeah.
they did the rerun
Yeah, I grew
of
up
the
to this,
Star Trek.
all the original Star Trek reruns. I probably saw them all like 3 times, 4 times over the years. So, yeah, and the message, the writing in the original Star Trek was so ahead of its time and so avant-garde because they were really putting out really amazing messages with the writing, and then of course the first interracial.
You're speaking my language, avant-garde, since I'm into fashion and I'm into French fashion. There's a lot of avant-garde designers
Porte.
out there. Yeah, Pret-a-Porter. And one of my favorite designers back in the 80s was Mugler, simply because
Very recall.
yeah, simply because he was inspired by these comic book superheroes. And once his models paraded down the runway, I was like, they look like comic book superheroes. Either they were what's that, benevolent or malevolent
Yeah.
looking,
You got to
like,
change it up.
yeah.
It's nice. Yeah.
So it was like, oh my goodness, and that's why I followed him. Like even if when his style became outdated, like I still loved him, and he created this robotic outfit that Beyonce used for her "I Am Sasha Fierce" tour. She wore that. She had a hard time moving in that thing. But anyhow, I flew off on a tangent. I love doing that.
That's what we're here for.
But yeah, what was it about Star Trek that you loved?
Well, Kirk was just so charming. Tiberius Kirk. He was just. When I was a little kid, people asked me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "Captain Kirk."
Nice. Sweet.
He was it. He
Sweet.
was everything. So, and then they were so ahead of their time because they had such a diverse cast. The Russian, the Asian, the Scot,
Yes.
and of course Spock, the alien. So they integrated everyone into this, jambalaya soup of awesomeness that just, and then all the stories about the energy vampire thing that they had to stop fighting and start hugging. I mean, it was just, that was 60 something years ago that they were putting this out
There was
it's so relevant today.
There was a vampire episode of Star
it
Trek.
it was like a hovering energy mass that
Oh,
if they were,
yes.
and it made people want to fight.
Oh,
And then when they fought, it fed on the energy of their fighting, their anger, and their you know their stress, and they realized that they needed to stop fighting and start laughing and hugging each other. And I thought it was a really amazing episode. And of course, fast forward 60, 80 years, and people talk about all this, how there's energies that feed off of the negative energy. So we need to be positive. So it's just amazing how relevant some of those episodes really were, even today still. So
we need that energy now. So we, stop fighting, stop the prejudice,
Yep.
stop the misunderstanding, and I sense such inner peace about you. There's so much inner peace in you. There's normally, and here I am being so candid. You guys that know me, I wear my heart on my sleeves. Sometimes when I meet a person, I normally notice that there's like a guard, like a fortress, and in your case, it's just you're just
yeah, I'm
calm.
saying my kind
Yeah.
of heart's on my sleeve, and I
Mhm.
don't really know how to edit myself.
Right,
I'm always
yeah.
just,
Yes.
and because I have a really good access to the information, I feel this need to share information all the time. So I'm always looking for someone who needs information because I have access. I'm like, oh, here, this is for you, So,
Yes.
and then the more I share, the more I have access to. It's like a toroidal flow. So, keeping open is what helps that flow.
Yes.
So I try to be open and try to, embrace the love and the knowledge and just share as much as I can. And it's not about knowing more than anyone. It's about saying, oh, here's some information I have that you might need, and I'm sure you have some that I need. So it's a trade. It's a give to get type of thing, which we need to embrace a lot more. I think that we've gotten caught up in the I am thing, and I think there's a little bit of an agenda in the I am movement, and I think we need to go back to the we are, the embracing, the holding hands, the loving each other,
Yes.
the community, the barn building rationale.
That's
we
right,
need to go
yeah.
back to that,
Yeah.
and then because we've become, and here we are trapped in our houses, all isolated by ourselves. The farthest thing from exactly where we need to be, which is helping each other, loving each other, and understanding what we're involved in, which fractal thinking would probably help people clarify. But, we all have to find the information in our own path, but I'm just hoping I can help that process for some people. But,
Yeah.
okay, I
And
just went on a tangent.
no,
Go ahead.
no.
Sorry.
You're really good, and go and piggybacking with what you just mentioned. That's without cramming my personal beliefs down in people's throat. I believe that Christ, the man, back in the day, had that energy, and it was just flowing, and that's the reason why a lot of people back in his day were gravitating towards him. And the religious leaders that were confined to the structure of tradition couldn't understand that. Like, why are they following this man? They didn't realize that he exuded with that charisma.
Yeah, it was probably an empathic exchange too.
It
the
was,
energy,
yeah.
When you feel true, sincere love from someone,
Mhm.
you're attracted to them almost like a magnet.
Yes.
Because it's sincere and it's real. That's what we all just want to be loved, and we want to feel love. So I can totally resonate with that.
And not marginalized and rejected.
Yeah, and a lot of
And that's-
religions,
yeah.
they postulate one thing, but if you really go below the surface, it's about, non-inclusiveness,
Yeah.
exclusivity, think what we tell you to think, and, it's almost like an indoctrination, and it
Right.
doesn't feel like love, or just, I don't know,
Yeah.
Equanimity.
Equanimity. Before I go back to the topic of Star Trek, I just want to share to you
Yeah, we got
something
way
funny.
off topic.
Yeah,
but
it's
been
it's all part. It's all part. Yeah,
scenic route.
It'll
Taking
make
the scenic
sense later on. So there was this punk rocker, nose ring and tattoos. He was all tattooed up. Went to a church and said, "Oh, if you want to be a follower of Jesus, you need to change the way you look," and blah blah blah. So he left very disheartened, and as he was walking away from the church, he actually encountered Jesus. And then he said, and then Jesus asked him, "Why are you so sad?" And then he's like, "Well, I tried to go to that church and be a part of, be a member, and they just rejected me." "How long ago was that?" Jesus asked. "Oh, about an hour ago." "Oh," Jesus said, "don't worry. I've been trying to get into that church for 50 years. They wouldn't allow me in either." So it's
Yeah,
so
that's a good
it's
story.
truth versus tradition. And anyhow, we're going back to Star Trek because we are talking about the powers that be, magical or miracles, and Star Trek has touched on many, many different topics, including this alien life force that looked like God. I don't know if you've in one of their movies they had that in one of their movies. I don't know if it was Undiscovered Country or probably not.
Yeah, I'm
In
trying
what?
to remember the movies. It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. So tell me more about your love for Star Trek.
Um, just the technology. I always want. I mean, I feel like I was born out of time. Like I want to be in a starship. I want to travel the stars. I want to live that life. So that was always the appeal for me because average life. I grew up kind of poor and didn't have a lot. So that was so appealing to me to be a part of something like that. So I always really kind of aspired to be in that. And then of course that Star Trek was the jumping off point, and then it led to like Space 1999 and Star Wars and some of the old school sci-fi movies like Silent Running with Bruce Dern or Lathe of Heaven or even The Forbidden Planet with Leslie Nielsen. That was a really relevant movie.
Awesome.
Yeah, about the creation of the id, the subconscious, when you take it to the nth level. It was a really, really intriguing movie. So there's a lot of inspiration in sci-fi for me anyways. Growing up, I just always gravitated to it because I felt that was my reality. And the irony is that now we realize that that's actually where most of the reality is hidden. There's so many technologies that are kind of not allowed out because it would change this whole paradigm that we already have a lot of the stuff we saw in Star Trek, the original series.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been a really full circle type thing for me. So it's really intriguing that I'm actually really a big fan of free energy and fringe technologies. So probably because I grew up loving sci-fi. So it's all good. Yeah, it's been a great influence on me. I think I wouldn't change it for anything. And Star Trek, certainly got to tip my hat because that's where it all started.
There
Star
you go.
Trek. The original Cowboys in Space.
The original Cowboys said, yeah, the return.
Firefly was awesome. Don't get me wrong; it's the best show that never was. But Star Trek definitely did it first.
I remember because I was born and raised in the Philippines and came here to the U.S. in my mid 30s actually. So I watched all the Star Trek TV programs all the way from TNG and Voyager was the show that bonded me and my mom together in that TV show. So she loved Star Trek Voyager. And
Well, that's good.
7 of 9, you do remember?
Of course. Well, she's back in Picard now,
Yeah,
so.
she's back in Picard right
Yeah.
now. So when I came here to the U.S. and went to the Star Trek experience at the Hilton,
Yep.
and they beamed me up on board the ship. It was a multi-million-dollar amusement park, so everything was lifelike, including the part where they beamed you aboard. I almost cried. I was like, "Oh my freaking God!"
Wow. I never got to
Like
experience that.
that was truly amazing. And you were in the transporter room, and they led you down the hallways, and I was like, "Oh, this is just much too much for me to contain." I was like, "Wow."
Very cool.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
someday they'll bring it back.
yeah.
We need more stuff like that.
And unfortunately, they shut it down because after many years, I guess the uh, the public enthusiasm for it kind of waned down. So they stopped going, and there are few tourists that went to the attraction. But it was truly awesome. You went to the bridge, and then they took you inside this. It was like a turboprop elevator, and you went to a simulator ride, and you were in a tiny space shuttle, zipping into
That
outer
sounds cool.
space, and all. That's really cool.
Wasn't there like Quark's Bar or something?
Yes, the
there as
Quarks
well?
Bar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
the Quarks Bar
I think
is
I-
now in part of Westgate,
Oh, is
and
it?
it's now the employee employee room, yeah, of the Westgate. But anyhow, so we talked about Star Trek. How is your how do you like Star Wars?
Oh, I love
I
Star
know
Wars.
that you've talked about being a
Yeah.
professor about the Jedi. You talked about.
Oh, I definitely resonate with Star Wars. Matter of fact, I'm real excited about the whole Ahsoka Tano thing because that was a character introduced in the Clone Wars animation, and she was actually Anakin's Padawan. Sassy little girl who starts to mature and becomes this amazing Jedi under the tutelage of Anakin, who eventually becomes Darth. So. And now there's talk that they're going to have, actually, I guess it's very serious because they've chosen Rosario Dawson to play Ahsoka
A live
Tano.
action version
Yeah,
of
she's
it.
going to
Wow.
make a quick, like a cameo type appearance in the next second season of The Mandalorian, which is going to bring out her character in live action. So, where a lot of us are hoping that they'll kind of reboot the character back to the beginning, like when her nickname was Snips, when she was Anakin's sassy little Padawan. And it'd be really awesome because there's such a rich storyline around her character, and because she was so close to Anakin before he became Darth. So they have a lot of material there, and it's such a strong character. And with all these female characters doing so well, like with Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, hey, Ahsoka Tano, I see them doing 3 to 5 movies on her character alone, and that's just that, and that's why I'm excited because I have a feeling that's what we're in store for. But I mean, look at all the movies that they put out. I mean, they just finally finished the 9-movie series, which was awesome. And of course, now they're doing side projects. I guess there's a show for Obi-Wan coming out
Wow.
on Disney Plus. So yeah, of course we'll see. Some things got kind of set back with this coronavirus thing, but yeah, there's a lot of really good Star Wars stuff yet to come, which is kind of cool. And I think Disney's hopefully going to really keep it at the right level and use really
Right.
good writers, and and really keep the entertainment of Star Wars alive for many more movies.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
looking forward to it.
you gotta love what George Lucas created. He not only created these iconic characters, he created an entire universe. It's like, wow.
Yeah,
It's
and
like Princess Leia, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, R2D2, C3PO. They're just the tip of the iceberg. And you've spoken about another character that
wasn't even in all that.
Yes.
But I mean, all those characters, Han Solo. I mean, they all had such rich, unique characters, personalities. So, yeah, it's been a fun ride with all of them throughout all these movies. So, and Lucas did the first movie on like a shoestring budget.
Yes, he did.
And so,
Yes.
when you look back and look at it now, it's still amazing. But I mean, they pulled it together on gluing old parts together to make lightsabers and stuff. I mean, when you watch the documentaries about the making of the first Star Wars film, it's really amazing at what they accomplished.
Yes, I've
with
seen
what
that.
they were working with. So it's iconic.
It is. I've seen the documentary of Star Wars many years ago, back in the mid 70s, and I remember watching it with my cousin, and it was like, what was it, like a 2-hour, 3-hour documentary, and we were just there glued to the boob tube, as they called it back in the day.
I remember that too. When you
Yeah.
actually had to get up and go change
Yeah,
the
you just
channels.
change the channel. Yeah, you click, 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 click.
Oh, I remember having to turn a knob so that the antenna outside would actually rotate.
Right.
Rotor.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just dated myself. So.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You know, we're immortal
little
vampires
kid.
over here. Yeah. Hey, I mean, I'm just what is it like a year apart from each other?
Yeah.
So went through the whole music, movies, television series of the all the pop culture,
The 80s.
the 80s, and in my case, you know, we went through a second British invasion when it came to music because the first one, and let me get this right. Yes, I know that there's a first British invasion in music. So there was this guy that was trying to, he thought that I was disagreeing with him. And I said there was a second wave of British invasion in the 80s, you know.
So real quick, to clarify for some of us, what was the first one? And
British invasion in
that was like the Beatles.
the Beatles.
And then the second
the Beatles, Rolling Stones,
Okay.
and I believe the Sex Pistols.
Was Bowie that time, or was he more second?
More of the well, he
Second one, like Queen.
became even more famous in the second wave. You know, there was
Probably Elton John.
Eurythmics, Sushi and the Banshees, and of
Oh,
course,
okay.
yeah, Elton, Depeche Mode, Tears for
Okay,
Fears,
yeah.
Duran Duran, Culture Club. I used to dress like Boy George back in the day, with my really long bangs and my hat, and
Sure,
I was
sure.
wearing trench coats back in the Philippines where it was hot and humid. So I only
You're
wore it.
dedicated.
So I only wore that when it was raining really hard and it got flooded. So that's
Very
how
cool.
that's how crazy I was back in, well, I still am crazy. So anyhow, we'll be back for more in the third segment. Don't go away.
Social media shows network were initiated in 2017. Since then, our founder Maria Pereza never stopped developing a system on social media. In building a network of passionate people that loves to entertain, coach, help others, and deliver informative information to the public, informally, in a low-cost production. She built a platform that surpassed Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and other social media live streaming, but exceeded the function of a podcast. Her main goal is to be able to broadcast on social media like a traditional TV setup involving a group of broadcasters, YouTubers, podcasters, and social media live streamers. Maria is building the confidence of non-actors and non-famous people that joins her to network. We are here to promote and support one another, to help our community grow collectively without inhibitions but with confidence and high self-esteem. We love to be in this family together. Our door is open to help you build your brand, opening opportunities for others, and outreach to our community. We welcome you to the family of social media shows.
As we continue to grow and build a brand, social media shows continue to develop and discover new possibilities to help one another. Our affordable services will help us move to the next level of our journey. Host your own show to inspire or entertain others for as low as $150 per month.
We have 20 shows a week, live stream.
We are looking for sponsors. We showcase your business products and services on our network to be seen by your target market for as low as $200 a month.
That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations.
Let us promote and advertise your event, giving your venue the red carpet treatment. This platform allows venues that feature entertainment, singers, bands, DJs, comedy, fashion, corporate events, and family events to be showcased in a new direction that also involves your audiences starts at $200 an hour. We also provides video editing, website builder, commercial video for your business, music videos, photography, provided by our affiliates. As we build our community, we pay it forward. Our nonprofit organization GI Connections is all about giving back to our community. Join us create outreach programs to help our community and live a happy, peaceful, and unity. Let us bring the world to you.
Social media shows network were initiated in 2017. Since then, our founder Maria Pereza never stopped developing a system on social media. In building a network of passionate people that loves to entertain, coach, help others, and deliver informative information to the public, informally, in a low-cost production. She built a platform that surpassed Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and other social media live streaming, but exceeded the function of a podcast. Her main goal is to be able to broadcast on social media like a traditional TV setup involving a group of broadcasters, YouTubers, podcasters, and social media live streamers. Maria is building the confidence of non-actors and non-famous people that joins her to network. We are here to promote and support one another, to help our community grow collectively without inhibitions but with confidence and high self-esteem. We love to be in this family together. Our door is open to help you build your brand, opening opportunities for others, and outreach to our community. We welcome you to the family of social media shows.
Hello and welcome back to the third segment of Fab Life, and I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Dunedine. Hi, how are you? Thank you for watching, and I love your comments, and thank you for saying that my show for today is pure gold. I sincerely am grateful from the bottom of my heart, and he is too.
Likewise. Thanks.
Yes. So now we are going to talk about the current sci-fi movies, and I understand that you like the movie Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, amazing movie. I've probably seen it like 5 times now. You know,
Wow.
I'm sure you know the costumes are amazing,
Yes.
the visuals, all the action. You know, Mila Kunis is gorgeous, Stephen Channing, Tatum. You know, a lot of good actors, and very interesting premise as well. So, you know, they really got the whole package. So, kind of a relevant movie, if you ask me, in terms of bigger picture stuff. So, because there's a whole lot of sci-fi movies that I chalk up to kind of almost real in some aspects. So, and that's one of them. I think there's a lot of sneaky truth hidden in that movie. So, yeah, that's a good one.
The thing that I love about Jupiter Ascending is that they gave the impression that the outer space aliens that come here to Earth, well, they don't just come. I mean, they, in some of these stories, they say that they've actually created our civilization.
That we were seeded.
That we were seeded, yeah.
And as some would even suggest as food, you know, to be, and that's
So
kind of the
sad.
premise of Jupiter Ascending, is that the Earth was seeded to be, you know, grown as basically a crop, and then at a certain point of saturation, they would come and harvest the Earth for its energy of the soul. So that's the relevance of it, because there's a lot of people who believe that that's actually kind of somewhat possibly real. So,
Is it kind of like V? The remember
yeah,
V?
yeah,
The,
because there's a whole, you know,
Yeah.
with David Icke and the whole reptile thing. So
they
there's a-
ate humans.
Yeah.
For those who don't know what V was all about, they pretended to be friendly alien, but they came with an agenda. Yeah, that's what happened, right?
Because there's the original V, then the remake with Moreno Baccarin, the one who's in Deadpool. Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah,
it
that
was good.
it was like, but that's pretty scary if you think about it. If it was real, it's like, oh my goodness. So what do we do to protect ourselves from these beings who came from an advanced civilization, who can wipe us all out? You know, at the snap of a finger.
And
It's just
there's several, like, they hit on that premise a lot. Like They Live, John Carpenter, 1988. You know,
Ooh.
when you put on the glasses and you can
oh
suddenly
my goodness.
see. That was a good one. Everyone calls that a documentary, not a movie.
John Carpenter made a documentary.
Well, no, it was a movie, a sci-fi movie called They Live, where when you put on these
I
special
didn't
glasses,
see that. I
you
did
can
not
suddenly
see
see all
that.
the hidden stuff in the world, and also you saw that some of these people that were walking amongst us were actually aliens that kind of looked maybe a
Wow.
little bit reptilian.
Maria, we need those
So,
special glasses to
yeah.
see
So They
who are
Live
the
was-
aliens amongst us.
And even Enterprise, the one with Scott Bakula, I think they had a reptilian race, alien race on there. There's so many
That you had
different-
to see with special.
No, not in that episode, because in there they talked about the insectoid aliens, the amphibious aliens, and then the reptilian aliens. And of course, remember the original Star Trek when Kirk is on that planet with that reptile, and he has to create that, like, raw bazooka gun to kill it. So way back, they were already kind of implying that the reptiles.
Yes, he was a hot reptilian alien. I'm just kidding.
so yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's a premise that's out there.
Oh
It
my
gets-
goodness.
Gets interwoven quite a bit. So yeah.
So what do you think apart from that? You know what? I still want to talk about this topic because in Jupiter ascending, the aliens would come to us and they would cloak themselves so we wouldn't see them. They were invisible. And that's probably what's happening now. When these intelligent beings come here, they're invisible to the naked human eye and we don't see them. And who knows, this is just, a theory that I came up with. They probably come in vessels as smaller than anything that you could see through a microscope, but they could, defy, space. and,
Well, like the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Inside is huge. So,
Yeah.
But yeah.
yeah,
you
and
know,
it's
it sounds
invisible.
like sci-fi to us, but I mean, who's to say that won't be our science in another 50
Right.
to 100 years, and we'll have all that technology because we'll just reverse engineer it from them anyways.
right. and here's a funny thing, because I read the book of entitled The Hermit by Lapsang Rampa. He was a Tibetan monk.
Okay.
And he talks about aliens, and he talks about how Earth originated and all that. And the funny part, I got to the part where it said, "Oh, they created the purple race here on Earth, and there were like 8-breasted women that with the color purple, and they said that there was no life of intelligence, and that's why they they just decided to obliterate the entire purple race." And I'm like, that's mean. That's really cold.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we're on the topic of aliens, even if it's tied to the science fiction movies that we watch. And speaking about hostile aliens, it's been shown in the movies like Justice League and the Marvel movies, particularly Marvel with the Thanos, this powerful evil villain. That's really scary if you think about it. If Thanos was real, it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, we'd be in trouble because
Yeah.
we don't have all those superheroes here.
Yes.
At least not that we know of.
Not that we. Oh, that's a
Who
good
knows?
one.
Yeah.
Not that we know of.
Maybe
Yeah,
they're actually just keeping a low profile.
that's right. Yeah.
It's funny because I remember when the Sci-Fi Channel came out way back in the day, but it was called SciFi, which is the abbreviation of science fiction, right? Our brain equates FI to fiction. I remember the day when SciFi rebranded and they became SYFY. And I yelled to my friend, I said, guess what? It's not fiction anymore. Like, what? I was like, look, they're telling us. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, FY isn't FI, which means we're not equating that to fiction anymore. They just told us it's not fiction. When they changed the name to SciFi, they basically, I mean, that day changed stuff for me because I'm like, they just validated the fact that most science fiction is actually science fact.
So what does FY stand for?
Who knows? But it doesn't stand for
Is it
fiction
like
anymore. They're not.
for
They're
your
not actually stating
information?
that it's fiction because up until then, I mean, and a lot of people, I don't know, it depends on their camp of thought, but a lot of people believe that a lot of what's in sci-fi was actually in Black Ops projects that they, you know, a lot of the early scientists were actually also writers because they had amazing imaginations and they were involved in really state-of-the-art scientific alien type projects. They would write stories and they would borrow from what they were working on. And then at first they got in trouble, but then they realized, hey, we actually want them to share this stuff because if anyone working on the project is out in the bar and gets drunk and starts talking about it, everyone will laugh and say, oh, you've been watching too much Stargate. Because there's a lot of belief that Stargates are very real.
I love Stargate.
And that there's one under the ocean and that they can, you know, it's like, why doesn't the water go? Well, they have a filter, you know. But ships can fly in and out undetected if there's a Stargate underwater. And supposedly there are at least one on this planet that's underwater off the Gulf of Aden, so near Yemen. So
And speaking about Stargate, the way they attracted...
speculation.
Yeah, yeah, speculation.
But it could be very real.
We'll talk about more of those things in the enchanted moment. So
We're not there yet. Okay.
no, we're not in the enchanted moment yet. So Stargate, the way they attracted the actor Jay Davidson to play Ra, the celestial pharaoh from outer space. They told him, because he was flat broke during that time, and he said, would you play this godlike alien, you know, who flies in his giant pyramid spaceship? And then he said, yeah, I would do it for $1 million. And then, oh, okay. And they called him back and they said, we got your $1 million for you. I said, oh, sign me up. Let me.
He was good for that role, too.
He was good for that role.
Yeah.
I really love Jay Davidson. He was in
Spader, Kurt Russell. I mean, they had a really good cast.
The Crying Game. Jay
Crying Game,
Davidson was in the Crying Game. Yeah, I saw that, the heart-wrenching movie. But the first Stargate movie, I loved it so much that ended up buying the movie magazine, ended up collecting the DVD. I know that's how old I am. Back in the day.
And
yeah,
that's a whole nother amazing franchise that, you know, I actually was addicted to all those as well. And even Stargate Universe, yeah, it got really relevant at the end of the second season, and then poof, it got canceled when they were talking about the God code that was hidden amongst, you know, the source code of reality. And it's like, okay, I think they got a little too close to something there, and poof, they canceled.
decided to cancel
or
it.
Maybe there was another reason, but I just think it was an interesting timing that when the plot got really relevant and almost real, boof, they get canceled, which actually happens to a lot of shows. So.
And speaking about the Stargate universe, this is where Jason Momoa was introduced, because I believe
Ronan.
that he played, you know, one of the.
Yeah, he was a great character.
Yes.
I would say that I'm like a cross between Ronan and Dr. Rodney McKay.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Swing a mean lightsaber. So. But yeah, I love those characters.
Awesome. And speaking about Jason Momoa, he later on became in another movie, Aquaman.
Awesome.
So
movie.
what did we think about Aquaman?
That was a great movie. Looking forward to the next one. I think they were about to start filming. They got pushed back a little bit. So
yes, they did.
But yeah, Aquaman was great, and Justice League, definitely want to see more. You know, hopefully DC dials in their approach a little bit better and maybe takes more of a humor line like what Marvel does, and that's why they keep it light. They inject the humor, and I think that's the writers they've found a formula that works really well. I think DC's starting to catch on.
Yes, I think
a little
that
bit darker.
Yes.
So, but
no. The only thing that I wanted to put in there is that they should have Justice League was started by the director who created 300, and he's known for being
Is that
so
Zack
dark.
Snyder?
Zack
Yeah.
Schneider.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that they should have just left it at that, because something happened with Jack Schneider's daughter committed suicide, so him and his wife couldn't continue on with the project, and that's why they they got Joss Whedon to be the director. And Joss Whedon kind of made it humorous and all that, but it I mean, to me it felt kind of disconnected with the original vision
Yeah, it's hard
of
to
Zack.
hand off in the middle of a movie a job that important. And I read an article that kind of insinuated that even though Joss Whedon, who's amazing, 'cause
He is
he did
amazing.
Firefly, come on.
Yes. And
It was
Avengers.
more of a directed by committee, because I guess because he was stepping in to kind of finish it up. There was a lot of other people who also started to have input, and so Josh kind of had to do what this group told him he had to do. And it wasn't so much like, okay, this is your baby, make it awesome. He didn't have that option because he didn't get to start it. So I certainly don't throw it on Josh that
No,
it wasn't
no,
a good
it's-
movie.
it's
just
not,
sad
yeah.
that what happened with Zach
Right.
created a situation that somebody else had to step in, and then more people, were trying to make sure that it got done right, and it ended up kind of getting lost in the shuffle, I think.
Yes,
So,
I totally agree with that, because he came in, and I shouldn't say that it was a total hot mess, but it was almost finished. It was almost done, and there were some scenes that I believe were pivotal to the story. And they even showed there were some scenes of Superman before he revealed himself again to the world that were cut off, edited out from
yeah,
the,
it sounds like they did some serious rewrites and reshoots, and that some of the stuff Zach had intended. Well, obviously now we're hearing that with the Snyder cut,
It's coming
is
out.
coming out, and
We're waiting for the
we're waiting
Schneider
to see
cut.
kind of
Yeah.
what he had in mind for it, and hopefully it'll pull it together and give us a little bit better of a coherent movie to watch.
So now
I'll watch
that
it. I'm looking forward to it.
yeah,
So, yeah.
we've tapped on the DC universe, what do you think about the Marvel universe and all the movies that they created, from Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man, Captain America, and Black Panther? So
Wow, it's a wild ride. I mean, there's so many amazing characters. Something for everybody, no matter what you like. Strong females. There's everything there. So, and the writing's great, and it's amazing all the Easter eggs that they hide amongst
Yes.
all the movies that tie them all together that you don't even realize are there. Maybe subconsciously we do, and then it comes out that there was hidden about this and about that, which shows that there's going to be a new character introduced, and now you're all excited about that. So, it's really great, the writing and how they've been doing this, and how long they've been at it now.
oh wow,
What's it
that's
been,
like a
12 years?
decade, and like more than a decade,
Yeah.
right?
So, and
Yeah.
it looks like they got a whole lot more to go. So, I'm real excited. Yeah, the next Thor sounds to be awesome.
Love and Thunder, I think that's
Yeah,
the
well,
title of that movie.
Taika Waititi's coming back for that. 'Cause
I
he did so
love
good
that.
with
Yeah.
Ragnarok that
He did
Taika
amazing
Waititi's-
job.
He's just amazing with all the stuff he does. It's like he has the golden touch now, like Jojo Rabbit and everything. So, and he even acted in that. He played
He did.
Hitler.
He's
It was just hilarious.
he's an amazing actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a lot of talent right there. So,
And the Russo brothers, who became of course, the first time that they directed a Marvel movie was with Civil War, Captain America, Civil
that's when
War.
they came in.
That's
Okay.
that's when those two directors started directing a Marvel movie, and then Marvel Studio and Walt Disney liked them so much that they became the director of Infinity Wars and Endgame. And I think that those two directors did an amazing job. Amazing job.
Yeah, they were epic movies.
And I love the way that Endgame ended, when Well, I know most of you have already seen the Avengers, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter whether I'm going to give you spoiler alert.
If you're spoiling at this point,
Yeah, I was
You know,
spoiling it at this point.
they need
Yeah.
to get, they need to
Yeah.
get busy and watch them.
Yes,
So I
exactly.
wouldn't worry about
So,
spoiling it.
you know, the scene where they went back to the main story of Steve Rogers and his love for Peggy. I love that whole romance between Peggy and Steve. Like that well, it almost brought tears to my eyes, but it didn't because some journalist out there ruined it for me and spoiled it before I could even watch it. I'm like, darn it, like why did you do this? You know, and it was all over Google. That
Yeah.
was like a few days before I went to see the Avengers. But anyhow, yeah, it's Avengers, truly, truly amazing. And who's your favorite Avenger?
Probably Thor.
Thor, yes,
Yeah.
yes. See, he even looks like Thor with the long hair. All that's missing is the hammer.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the beard for a little while.
You did the
Did
beard
the
for a
Thor
little
look.
while,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did the Aquaman look too. For
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome, awesome. So there you have it for the third segment of Fab Life. We will be back for more in the enchanted moment. Promise.
Thank you to our affiliates who trusted and hold us by the hand. We truly appreciate your support and we are looking forward to a longer relationships. GI Connections, VIP Vacations, James Presley Recording Studio, Power X Energy Drinks, Moke Experience, 22.3 Takeover Vegas Radio, Revolution Radio 2, Rhythm Vision, Westgate Resorts Las Vegas, The Giving Water, Whalers Creation, The Funk Jam, The Iron Monk Tattoo Society, GG Chic, Las Vegas Entertainment, Fantasy at Luxor, Action Shot Productions. Ask us to learn more how to be part of our affiliate today.
All right, let's do this 60 seconds or less. We're all in the same situation right now at the same time. But it's only the ones who are doing the work that's going to come out of this thing a whole lot better than what they were before this work. Now, what does that mean, do the work? That means whatever it takes to become physically and mentally stronger every day. You need to be going to bed tired physically and mentally. That's how you know you're doing the work. What do you need to do the work? I don't care. Do whatever it takes. You know what? Do some push-ups. No, don't just do some push-ups. Do some push-ups with some correct form, going all the way down to the ground. Not your elbows sticking out. Learn how to do that. I guarantee you learn how to do some push-ups and some squats with correct form, you'll be physically tired and stronger. Learn how to do that. Let's go. Get physically tired, baby. Let's go right now.
John is an employee at one of the most famous firms in the city of New York, so his job is very hectic, and he realized that it is necessary for him to go and finally take a vacation. But he went on a vacation without planning out the details, and wasn't able to truly enjoy where he went because he had to think about so many things that he didn't plan for. Instead of enjoying his time away from work, he came back with more stress that he was not able to take full advantage of his vacation. But this year, a coworker suggested him to try World Ventures this time to make his vacationing more enjoyable and less stressful. They do not require you to plan anything outside of your transportation, which is also available at discounted rates. Your stay, your transport, and many meals are planned by the club. John liked the idea very much. He tries World Ventures, and his experience with the club was amazing, as he made many friends there with whom he had a great time. John recommends that everyone should try this club, as they are the best in business. See how the VIP-vacation-club.com can give you the right experience without all the hassle. Enjoy the VIP experience that only World Ventures provides.
Welcome back to the final segment of Fab Life. And as you guys know, my last segment of Fab Life is called The Enchanted Moment. Ta-da!
Sounds cool.
And usually my enchanted moment is usually a rant. And I love the fact that during our commercial break, you had your little rant about something before we talk about is there life out there. We'll talk about your it's kind of like your biggest pet peeve or the thing that irritates you. Well, what is the meme on Facebook that
So there's a lot, I feel there's a little bit of a what they call spiritual gaslighting or false lighting, and there's this meme that's out there, and I think it's the epitome of that concept, because it says, don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution. And being somebody who grew up poor on a small farm, having to fix everything, I can assure you that nothing broken ever got fixed by ignoring the broken parts. So if you want a solution, a lasting solution, you have to have an in-depth and very good understanding of the problem in the first place. So the solution and the problem really are intrinsically combined. They really are the same thing. So if you want a real lasting solution, you need to fully understand the problem. So that's basically a good way of showing that people, they see these memes and they post them and they think that they're all spiritual and enlightened, and it's actually a flipped script, because right below the surface of what you're reading, the truth is that's not really accurate. You really do want to focus on the problem. Like Nikola Tesla, when he would start to create things, he would envision them in his mind and the world around it as he's actually running or making the machine work, and he would envision how it impacted everything, and he would start to see, okay, well, I see a problem there, I need to modify this. So he would have several, 4 or 5 different iterations already enhanced in his mind before he even went to the drawing board or the workbench to create the prototype. Why? Because he was actually foreseeing problems before he even actually encountered them by process of envisioning. So I think more people need to embrace that rationale rather than that whole, because that's like fast food spirituality. Just focus on the solution, don't focus on the problem. No, that's, where are all the MacGyvers? We need a lot more MacGyvers. And unfortunately, with all these millennials and using, your phone can't change a spare tire. It's not gonna, fix a broken spark plug wire that if you had a little bit of sense, you could probably see and fix yourself. And it's said that we've kind of lost our problem-solving abilities. Why? Because we're focusing on the solution and not the problem. We really need the opposite. I mean, yes, let go of the fear and the anger. There doesn't, and that's the first thing that they say is, oh, but no, there's no fear or anger. There's just realistic logic that this is the problem. And if I truly understand the depth of it, I'll come up with a very good, lasting solution, and I won't ever have that problem again, right? I just think that that's a little bit, when I saw that meme, I saw all that, because of my mind, I saw all that with it, and I was like, why isn't it a little bit more explicit? Because that isn't true. That's actually kind of making people think the opposite of what they really should be thinking. So that's just one example of kind of things that I think would be nice if they changed. All of this spiritual gaslighting, narcissism stuff. So
that's an enchanted moment right there. No, that's a good one, because it's a rant, and I usually rant in this segment. So now we're going to talk about, is there life out there? It could be that you believe in it or probably not. What are your thoughts, and what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I totally believe there's life. I mean, that's why I'm such a sci-fi enthusiast, because I totally believe we're not alone. I believe we've been reverse engineering alien tech for a long time, and I'm just pissed that I can't play with it yet.
Oh,
I want my
yes.
lightsaber. I want my anti-grav. I want to leave the planet and go through a Stargate. And I believe there's a good portion of all that. That's very true.
Hold that thought for a second, and this is probably gonna make Maria laugh. So now I'm not driving a car, but then when the anti-gravity car will come out, you'll be seeing my car floating outside. Look, Maria, no wheels. It's floating.
When do we get to teleport? I'm waiting on that, man. I want to go have lunch and like.
Beam me up, Scotch whiskey. I'm just kidding, Scotty.
Hey,
Yeah.
I think we've had it for a while now. So, but yeah, as for aliens, I mean, you look at the billions and trillions, and I don't know. There's uncountless planets out there, and there's got to be a phenomenal amount of them that are in that Goldilocks zone where they're close to their sun and they're reasonably in a place where they can support life. So I don't know. And you look at all the ancient cultures on the planet that have drawings and describe things that are obviously describing aliens that either teleported in or came down in a spaceship. They just didn't know how to say it like that, so they said it in the language that they had at the time. But it's obviously what they were talking about.
Yes.
So I think it's kind of Occam's razor. It's pretty obvious we're not alone, but
Since we are on this topic, I'm pretty sure you've seen the movie Prometheus.
oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah. So what did you think about Prometheus? I love that movie. I own it on Blu-ray, by the way.
Yeah, that was a real eye opener because it makes you wonder. We're humans, even besides the fact that we're probably visited by many different alien species, we might have actually been seeded here by several different alien species. This could be one big, huge kind of jambalaya petri dish of
Wow.
genetic experiments. Maybe we are, GM-owned by, by the aliens. They're coming back, and we wonder why they come back. Well, it's visitation rights. They're coming to see the grandkids.
Right, they're coming to see the grandkids.
How'd you turn out?
Oh my goodness!
course,
Did
we're
you
just
hear that,
fighting with each
Maria?
other.
We're aliens.
I don't know.
We're seeded by aliens.
You never know these days,
Yeah.
right?
And this thing I always share, me being a Jesus freak and the belief in aliens, and how does my belief in Jesus and my belief in aliens reconcile? And this happened through a book, which is called My Descent into Death, which was endorsed by my favorite author, Anne Rice, the one who wrote all the Vampire Chronicles. And the character in this book, well, I shouldn't be calling it a character because this is his life story. So he went through a near-death experience, went through darkness, a dark spiritual hallway, attacked by demonic vampires, and then there was a light that grew bigger and bigger, and for some reason he knew who that light was. To him, he said, oh, it's Jesus. I mean, he didn't have any form, just a big ball of light, but he knew that it was him. So anyhow, and that big ball of light became their transportation device, and they flew into deep space. And then the author asked Jesus, is there life out there? And Jesus didn't say anything. What he did is that he paraded all those images before his very eyes. The first image looked like a human being, and then later on it became humanoid, and then it became more alien until the last image that he saw frightened him. And he said, okay, stop. I get the message. And then that's where I started to see, oh, okay, this is kind of like the big piece of the puzzle. And
I always wondered myself if Christ wasn't either a future human or a future alien human hybrid, or you don't
only
know.
time will not time, but the revelation, that moment that we'll all have divine revelation. And there's nothing scary about the word revelation. I know that they always tie it in with the word apocalypse. It just means like divine knowledge being shared to us. It's that moment. Yeah. That all things will fall in its rightful place, and all the knowledge that we've all been seeking will finally be revealed to us. Hence the word revelation.
I think we're ready for revelation.
Yes, and I know that you're ready. I could
We're
see
all
that
sitting home.
with all the vast knowledge stored.
I'm just riding the wave, you know, trying to figure it all out like everybody else. So I've got a few pieces of the puzzle kind of put together, and that's why I constantly talking to all sorts of people like you, and I have a huge group of friends on Facebook where we all just, you know, discern and then share information and try to help us put the puzzle together, figure it out, you know.
So do you think that there are good aliens out there? Good aliens, you know, with good intentions towards human beings?
Oh yeah, I think there's good ones and bad ones. I mean, I was actually been really intrigued by the whole alien concept for most of my life, and I remember reading some documents about how the government basically had documented 52 different species of off-world aliens that were walking around on Mother Earth in, I think it was the 40s and early 50s. So that long ago, there was
Wow.
over 52
Wow.
different off-world species already visiting Mudball number 3.
Oh.
Which is third rock from the sun.
Yes.
I call it Mudball number 3.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Crazy days.
And they've just withholding all that information from us, the technology, you know, that could change the world. And
well, because oil money drives our world, I mean, they can't let out that there really is teleportation already, that there really is anti-gravity. I mean, we have, the United States government has anti-gravity. We've had it for a long time. The Germans had it at the end of World War II.
Ooh.
But we have it now too. I mean, we have the TR-3B, and we have other crafts like the Aurora. I think that's retired now because we have FTL. We have faster than light. We have basically everything you saw in the first original Star Trek. We pretty much have all that now. They just can't let it out because then somebody isn't going to get paid for the oil.
are you familiar with Zachary Sitchin, the author of the
Yes.
Earth Chronicles?
I haven't. I'm not like an authority on this writing,
Right.
but I'm familiar with it, and it's very intriguing. Yeah.
Yes.
He did the faces on Mars. Was that the guy in the pyramids on
Yes.
Mars? Yeah. Oh yeah. I actually, I was really intrigued by the whole Montauk project and what they did there, and how they took like an alien chair out of a spacecraft that actually
Wow.
used mental interface to control the ship, and they started putting human psychics in a chair, more advanced ones, and they got to a point where they really could activate the chair, and they could create portals, and they could look through the portals, and they were actually portals through
my
time, but they
goodness.
portaled to Mars and actually saw that there's huge underground cities, alien underground cities on Mars, speculation of course, that were there for, they had to go back in time to see when they were inhabited by the aliens and who the aliens were, but they were like 100,000 years ago that they abandoned these cities and left. And then we actually got our hands on jump room teleportation type technology, and we put some humans up on these underground bases on Mars. And then the aliens somehow got wind of the fact that they were activating technologies, so they came back. And yeah, it's an interesting story.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
This guy is so impressive. His mind is like a library of these things.
Oh, I
you
could
know,
get
and
going, man. Give me a glass of wine, I'll talk for about 10 hours. It'll get crazy.
oh my
But
goodness!
the wild thing is it all
wow.
kind of fits, and a point to where you really have to say, like, that could very well be true. Maybe not
my
all of
goodness.
it's true, but I'm sure a whole lot of it is.
A whole lot of it is, yeah.
There's some tech out there that could change everything, but you know, free energy means we're free. That's why they won't give us free energy. We've got cold fusion, over unity lasers, yeah, but we got to push nuclear and all that. We have, you know, there's 900-watt solar panels in I think Germany and Europe that fit the same exact footprint as the 340s here, but they're illegal to import into the United States.
Oh
It
my
would change
goodness.
everything. Just having those solar panels would change a whole lot, but they You know.
Truly an enchanted moment. Thank you so much for gracing my
thanks,
show.
Thanks for having me. It's
And
been an
you know,
awesome rant.
all that vast knowledge, you know, that was shared not only to me but to my audience out there.
Thank you guys.
And
for watching.
this is one of my Fab Lives that I'm going to watch over and over again and reshare over and over again, because it's worth sharing and the world has to know about these things. So there you have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure for having you on my show. And don't forget to watch next week another fabulous episode of Fab Life. And also don't forget that your most fabulous, I keep on saying fabulous over and over again. And don't forget that your biggest and most important fashion accessory is your self-confidence. Chowder, see you next week.